Now, human rights groups say toxic waste from one of the worst industrial disasters in history is infecting a new generation of people. 30 years ago today, the Bhopal disaster killed thousands in the capital of Madhya Pradesh. The survivors and their children have been plagued with diseases and birth defects. Here's Iskander Razak.
A toxic legacy is seeping through the rusting ruins of this abandoned factory. For many, the Bhopal disaster is a distant memory. But for the survivors, the wounds are raw, and activists say beneath the surface, deadly poisons are festering and spreading.
17 studies, both government and non-government agencies, have shown that up to 3 kilometers or 3.5 kilometers from the factory, and at depths greater than 30 meters, there are chemicals that cause all this damage, cause cancers, birth defects.
In 1984, the factory accidentally leaked poisonous gas into the air. 500,000 people were exposed, and thousands of Indians in Bhopal city died. Some estimate the death toll was 16,000. But activists say the real number is closer to 25,000. The survivors suffer from debilitating injuries and diseases, as do their children.
I feel heavy. There is something like cobwebs in my eyes. I don't even feel light in my eyes. Walking is also difficult.
One of my daughters had blisters all over her body because of the gas, and my husband has also had various ailments and problems. His neck and lungs have been damaged. It's all because of the gas. Earlier, it was not like this. This has been happening for the past 15 years.
In 1989, Union Carbide agreed to pay $470 million in damages to the Indian government, which is now responsible for the site. Those directly affected get free medical care. But activists say tons of dangerous chemicals lay buried at the site, and there is evidence it is seeping into the region's water supply, infecting a new generation.
Chemicals like chlorobenzene, dichlorobenzene, benzene hexachloride, hexachlorocyclohexane, nickel, chromium, mercury in very, very high amounts. And yet nothing has been done.
In 2012, India's Supreme Court recognised that water in 22 communities around the old factory had been contaminated. Activists and lobby groups say despite that recognition, hazardous water remains in 21 locations around the site.
The toxic waste needs to be cleaned up, both in the site but also outside. It's affected the soils and the water, so that's why it's creating health issues for people, not just the toxic waste health issues of gynecological reproductive issues affecting women, but it's now affecting the general population.
Survivors are lobbying for the Indian government to put more money into cleaning up the disaster site. Activists also want Union Carbide, which was taken over by the Dow Chemical Company in 2001, to take the waste out of the country because there are no adequate facilities in India to deal with it. Some have written a letter to Barack Obama pleading for the US government to do more because Union Carbide was American and the company that bought it out, Dow Chemicals, is also US owned. Iskander Razak, ABC News.